anyway, knit story. I'm not sure if you guys know, but like, um, I do like small scale sampling, tiny little bit of manufacturing here and there for like local designers. Outsourced my production and my sampling elsewhere. So specifically, I've looked at China. Last episode, we sort of spoke about like how one of my factories is using a cotton yarn, and they don't want to tell me where they got their yarn from. I was prodding and
Because of
poking.
slave labor.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I was
Unethical.
prodding and poking all this week, right? And they're like, we can tell you if you order 2,000 units. I'm like, get fucked. Like, I was actually so mad when they said that. I'm like, why can you not provide like a BCI certificate? And for
That's
those who
shady
don't
as
know, that's the
fuck.
better. That is shady as fuck. But then they sent me photos of the swatches, and you'll see that in the email. And I'm like, oh, these swatches are nasty. Like
Oh,
they
they're not
are.
good.
No, that nasty in the good way. Like that is
Oh,
like I'm
oh, I
like,
was
that
hoping
is
you were
hot
gonna send me
shit.
some fucking like GCT. I thought these were gonna be like. Yeah, so hang on. What you're saying here? You're saying you're not being told the truth about your yarn, but you like the
Yeah.
samples, so like
No,
maybe we can
I
get it
like the
swap.
samples, but like I can't go ahead with production. You know what I mean? So you'll see the two samples, they're the two red ones. So the first one is just a plain knit showing off the colors, which I was like, yep, those are looking good together. And then the second one is with all the texture and like the stitch variation, the siege stitch, the garter stitch all applied on it. The first factory is the red swatches, so I'm sure it's in the email somewhere.
Okay. So you like them?
I really liked the red swatches. So the first one is just the plain knit, which was showing off the colors, which I was like,
Okay.
yeah, matches the illustration. And then the second one was that really, really like textural one.
Okay.
And I really like how they did that textural one. Like it came out like really fucking close to what I had intended for this particular garment because it's a 5 gauge, very textural, like crazy, crazy sweater, like a million different colors.
I love
Or
the
what can I
fucking
say?
2x2 rib requested, received one by one. Like you're not having artistic license. You're a fucking manufacturer. Just do what I say, please. Like just do what I say.
Okay, so let's quickly jump to that one. That particular manufacturer, right? They had sent me these garments and like I hadn't had the time to have like a proper look at them. So like I took them out of the box, had a quick gander, I was like, yep, that looks good. End of story. What they sent me was vicious. And I'm not gonna like no, it was. Like I'm sure with you looking at the photos and like just seeing the comments, seeing like the print issues, seeing the stitch issues,
Yeah.
it becomes really, really problematic. So
It's too much
when I
already.
yes. If it was like 2, 3, even 4 things, I'd be like, okay, I can let that go. We can fix this in a second round. But when it's like 16 different things and I counted, it's just too much. It's too much revisions. It's too much work. I don't necessarily want to push you to be a better manufacturer because at the end of the day, right? I've requested a sample from you for these garments. A sample in my mind is like, this is the technical capability of our factory. We're putting our best foot forward with this sample. And I understand sometimes like a designer might want to do revisions on the sample. Usually it's like, I want to fix the depth of the neckline. I want to fix like how deep the trims are. I want to fix like the tension on a stitch. Nothing related to the print. Nothing related to the stitches used. When like one of them, right, the 2x2 rib requested, like, I can show you the actual, like, message exchange with the manufacturer being like, yep, just making sure trims on the cuff, collar, and hem are all 2x2 rib. So why have they gone ahead and sent me a 1x1 rib? Like, what are we
I don't,
doing here, guys?
I don't fucking
What are we
know.
doing here, guys? And it just felt just like it almost feels disrespectful to a point because you spend so much money on these samples and these samples weren't
Did
cheap. I
you?
paid yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, tell the good
Like
folks how much did you spend?
so
Come on.
what I got 4 samples, right? 2 vests completely unusable and
When you say samples, do you mean you got 2 garments?
4 garments.
So you got
So
four
2 styles
garments.
of 4 garments. Each of those garments set me back about 200 USD, which is about how much Australian? Which is about 400 dingo dollars.
Dingo dollars.
Which honestly isn't that bad for a sweater sample. It's on the well, it's not on the cheapest side. It's pretty expensive considering it's Chinese manufacturing, but when you're
Did
paying
they,
that much,
but did they say
it's
to you,
ridiculous.
like, we're going to cut corners because it's just a sample and we essentially just want to put it together, i.e., like the linking? Like, I mean, the thing about the 2x2 rib and then doing a 1x1 is fucking bizarre. And then,
Yeah,
like the mohair not joining on the back, like the colours. Um, I mean, I could forgive that
that's
to an
just
extent
such
because
a
that's an easy, I know, but
that's an
so,
easy fix.
but if you look at like actual like manufacturing and you look at the seams of garments, and especially if you look at fair hour garments,
Oh,
matches a goddamn thing. It's like there are so many garments where you just see the pattern stop, or like no one considers these things, so they probably don't work with people who actually consider these things, because we just need to make large scale products for H&M, or
yeah,
for even I've seen like designer brands, and the patterns just stop, and I'm like, why
cut.
the
Yeah.
fuck do they do this? So I think it's just poor design in the industry, which is a standard. It's things people
Mm.
don't think about.
And that's the thing. I've been raised right in it, so I think about it.
And who raised
Insert
you,
ding.
honey?
Her name's Helen. She's all right.
Oh, that bitch.
But like anyway, like that's a really good point to bring up. Like we see in industry and we see in the retail space, no one matches their seams, no one matches the pattern. And like that's not what I was taught. I was taught like if you're doing a fair isle or if you're doing a double bed jacquard, you match those seams. You have like a continuous follow of the pattern. It's a much more professional finish.
I have just seen the drop stitches on the jacquard.
That was crazy. That was crazy work. So, I'll insert an image here, but essentially there's quite a few drop stitches on this garment. So on the interior of the garment, and I felt like I had to look at the interior after I looked at the exterior because I was like, this isn't adding up for me. There is like 10 drop stitches near like the left or right side of the garment where they have just let them loose. And that's not the most egregious part. Like I feel like there's worse things with these garments.
Linking on the neck. So they've not done point for point. What have they done?
So they've done point for point on the exterior. So what they've done is they've cast on, and you can see on the inside of the neck, that's just the cast on edge. So that's just the tubular cast on. They've knit up. They've obviously knit some waist. So they've applied just the finished edge on the inside and then folded it over. So like you see that everywhere on commercial garments, and I'm usually fine with it. But like I think it looks messy when you're working with like a mohair that has like a bit of a slub to it. I was like, no, I'm not a fan of this finish. Like I would have done point to point and like folded over. Like it's a nicer finish.
It's like people like, I mean, unless there's a reason to, I'll do it. But I often don't like doing it and folding it back. I like it to
Yeah,
fold over, or just to be linked onto it nicely and a part of it. But it's like
I agree.
when they took on this order, did you not say like do they ask you any questions like what is your price point for selling at? Like, are there any like
So
hard rules like you need like in this garment? Like,
So that's the thing. So something I've discovered with both these manufacturers, right? If you don't ask for it, they
yeah,
won't give it. You
yeah.
have to specify everything, which, industry standard, it's the case for most manufacturers. Like, well, obviously based in Western countries, we understand that the standard, if someone's coming to us directly for garments, the standard of how a garment should be produced. So if someone's like, I want a rib neckline, we're going to ask the questions, do you want it just a single band, or do you want it folded over? Do you want it point for point, or do you want it like cut and sew? Even though I don't offer cut and sew, and I think that's disgusting and a violation against God. Um,
I hate cotton, so I refuse.
that's another thing. So on the vest for these garments, I'm not sure if you saw. I was feeling around the neckline. I'm like, something seems suspect here. Like this does not feel like a fashioned edge. So
So
I
you
fully
took
took off
off the
the.
trim.
I took off the trim because I
That's
was
what
like,
I'm looking at. Yeah.
this does not feel right. And then when I took it off, I saw it was a cut. They cut into the knit. And the most egregious part is they didn't overlock the edge. It was just the live stitches hiding under that folded neckline. So imagine, right, if I hadn't took off the trim, I wouldn't have seen that there. I go ahead with a production run of like 20 units and then I'm selling these garments. How quickly would they have fallen apart? And I understand we're using a mohair mats.
Let me
It is what it is.
let me do a quick for the people who
Yeah.
might be listening to this who don't know knit at all.
Mhm.
When you cut knit stitches, they have the potential to drop. It doesn't matter what the material is. If you pull that hard enough, if you stretch it
Mhm.
hard enough, it will weaken over time and it will move. So even if it's a felted yarn, which is completely compact,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know if that will pull apart because I've never tried it, but it has the
Yeah.
potential to, right? So if you're ever cutting and sewing a neckline, well, if you're cutting it, what I always say to people is to overlock or link it, overlock or sew it with a machine because a machine will
Mhm.
catch every single stitch. So if those cut ones drop, they will only fall to the sewing line
Mhm.
and they won't go any further. So what Chris is saying, and you'll see it, is they've cut it. It looks like a fucking mess underneath.
Yes.
The link line's not even
It's
straight
not catching
on
every
the
stitch.
left-hand side.
Well, yeah, it was so wonky, and like you compare like the width of how they've applied that trim because you can see the linking line, like you can see sort of like where they've put it into seam the trim. It's not a nice finish. It's
No,
really not a nice finish, especially for the price point I wanted to sell these garments at. Like
I
I
wouldn't
would have felt
overlock
like
the
a clam.
neckline ever, by the way, just because it could
No,
be
me neither.
broken inside.
Mm.
So like you always want to sew it first. But yeah, that would send me over the fucking edge if I saw that in my garments. I'd be like, don't try and trick me. Like, what are we doing here?
So I'll also put up the chat with the manufacturer, but you'll see in the messages I clearly requested fully fashioned. And for those who don't know what fully fashioned is, like it just means that you're sort of shaping the garment on the machine rather than knitting meterage and then cutting into it to add that shape.
Yeah, so
Would you say that's correct?
shaping on the machine means when it comes off the machine, it's the exact shape you need. Whereas
Yes.
if you're cutting and sewing, you cut it to the shape you need. You
And
know,
I always say there's a time and a place for cut and sew, but never in my fucking garments. Don't you ever try to pull a fucking fast one on me. I was taught correct. I know how to clock that shit real fucking quick. And this is no shade to the manufacturer because obviously
but what have
I'll
they
say
said?
one.
What have they come back with? What have they said?
So, well, I've been ghosted. So they've. So there you
Oh,
go.
well, your girl can chat about it if you want.
No, because
Oh,
honestly, it's just like I feel like this is a live and you learn moment because obviously this is one of the first manufacturers I've gone to.
who is
This
it?
is
Is it the one you sent me?
no, the one I sent you sent those really gorgeous swatches and is using the slave label, which I
Who's this?
can't got. But I don't know how to pronounce the name without coming off like racist.
This is so annoying. You come
Mm,
to me and you don't want to out them, and that's so fucking irritating because then it's like, what if someone else goes to them and they waste all their money because you didn't say who the fuck this person was? Like, let's out them. It's so annoying. That's £800. Like, if someone took £800 from me, I'd be on a fucking plane, going to the factory to be like, you're going to knit this again. You're going to knit it exactly how I asked. I'm going to fucking sue you.
Look, so this is partially why like I'm having a bit of a crazy week. I'm gonna see if I can still get those garments or see if I can talk to a different representative because
Just ask
this
them to
is
do it again. Just be like, if
yeah
you can do it again exactly how I've asked, without any of these fucking bullshit errors,
yeah.
then we can proceed. Be
Yeah,
professional, do your job.
exactly. That's all anyone wants from the manufacturer. That's all anyone ever wants from like their designers. Like all you have to do is your job. And I don't think that's a big ask.
No,
I genuinely don't think that's a big ask.
no, it's bullshit. Well, you've pissed me off, so thanks for that. This is like added onto the trauma of the technical difficulties we had.
It's just it's so weird when people don't hold themselves to a higher standard in a field that's essentially a form of customer service.
Oh
Like
yeah, 100%. Like it is customer
especially
service. You've got to
yeah,
like provide it. You've got to like you can't just take people's money and fuck off. Like you've got to do the whole spiel, the whole job. I mean, I like a lot of people who I work with anyway, so it's quite easy.
yeah.
But at the same time, if you're gonna act like an asshole, I'll act like a fucking asshole. If you're gonna be nice, I'll be nice, you know. But
Exactly.
even when I send you stuff, if I'm aware of something
Yeah.
and I'm like, wait, what the fuck is this? Then I'll tell you. Do you remember when I was in those tops for you and those random fucking eyelets that appeared,
Yes.
and I was like, "They're not on the pattern. They are not anywhere. I don't know why they're fucking there." And there was just nothing I could do about it. And I told you, and you're like, "I'll chuck some beads on it." And I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
great." But I would never just send that being like, "Oh, I hope he doesn't notice," or maybe he won't call me out, because it's just like I have too much anxiety to do that, you know. And I talk a big game, so I've also got to be like, "Oh shit, I've got to
But
deliver."
and that's the thing, sometimes shit happens. Shit happens with a pattern, shit happens
Yeah.
with a knit. And like I think as like a consumer, as someone who's gone ahead and ordered those knits, I 100% loved it when you were like, Chris, these yarns, they just don't work. I'll put the top up here. The top came out great. It was only like 2, 3 like little eyelets that I had to fix up, and it
Oh
wasn't like
yeah.
anything crazy. So I was
That
like,
was
yeah,
testing, and
whatevs.
we were like, I was like, "I can't do anything more." Like, it's just not going to do it in the time that we had. So it was
Yeah,
kind of like we just had
it
to
is what
kind
it
of,
is.
yeah.
Can we go into
No.
the no, okay. You're
Yeah.
like, Chris, I know what you want to talk about. Shut the fuck up.
Is it gonna be the production
You could say that.
of them?
Yeah.
No.
No. Well, I mean, you spent like a long time like knitting them on the Jubiate anyway, so like we can skip over it, I guess. Um,
I mean, I'm not bothered, it doesn't matter, but it's just like,
it's
no,
just in case, yeah, just
yeah.
playing it safe. No, I get that. Anyways,
Everything
so
that happened was legal. Just